Life is like a video game. Have you ever got emotional or worried about a certain outcome working out, if you're going to get this job, if the business is going to be successful, if the people that you're meeting are going to like you and want to invest in your company or even just be your friend? Then you're a human. You have these normal feelings. And the reason is because we're invested emotionally into everything we do. And that doesn't mean that you're doing it the wrong way. It's just natural. And a way that I have discovered, and I really kind of put this together and had this realization back in, 2018. And at the time, I was at one of the lowest points in my life. And I was really trying to figure out what direction in life I wanted to go. I knew some of the things that I wanted to do in general. I knew some of the talents that I had, but I didn't know how to piece it together because I just didn't have this certain mentor that could guide me and give me all the answers. And so one of the first things that I did is I just started developing myself and reading and learning and studying the most successful people in the world. And what realization I made is that up until that point, really that 2018, maybe late 2017 or year, I realized that I was really just working hard and reacting to whatever life threw at me. And I had this thought, which was so wrong, was that I was just gonna work really, really hard, and suddenly I was just gonna meet this person that catapults my career and my life. And then I finally had the realization that I'm that person. Nobody's coming. And if they are, it's because I'm so good that I left no doubt for the world that I'm that guy. And so what I did is I started looking at what do I want and who do I have to become and where do I have to go to accomplish the things that I want to accomplish. So when you're trying to think like you're playing a video game, the reason why this is so easy is because it doesn't affect your emotional state. You can turn off the game, you can play tomorrow, you can play at any time. So you think with clear-cut strategy. It's the same reason why it's really easy to give your friends or family advice, because while you want the situation to work out, you don't really feel the pain if what happens or the things that they want doesn't work out. You get to look at everything from a logical standpoint. So here's a good way to kind of do this structurally, is kind of zoom out on your life. And I want you to think about, in the truest and most realistic brash sense, where you're at financially, where you're at with your friends, where you're at career-wise, where you live, why you live there. And then I want you to dream for a second. Don't overdo this, but think about where you would want to be in your career, in your family, in your life, your ideal situation. And I want you to act like you are going to train this character that you're playing in a video game to become this person. Because if you're that person, accomplishing the things that you want is very simple. You're like, if you morphed and suddenly became Michael Jordan, LeBron, it's very easy to dunk a basketball. It's really easy to get a massive NBA contract. But if you're not LeBron, it's damn near impossible. It's the same thing for business. It's the same thing for attracting a great partner. If you're not an incredible husband, you're not going to find an incredible wife. If you're not a great friend, you're not going to have great friends. And so oftentimes we naively want or desire things that look good and we think comes with a great outcome, but we're not prepared to become the person that's capable of actually not only receiving it, but actually keeping it. Because getting something before you're meant for it is a burden. It is not a blessing. And I think we've all experienced that in some capacity. You'll lose it quicker than you got it. So let's strategize here. What do you need to become this person? Let's do an entrepreneurial type of person, because a lot of you guys watch my content for business, but you can plug and play this for whatever you want. So let's say right now you just got out of college or you're about to do a career shift and your goal has always been to become an entrepreneur and run your own business. The first thing is looking at, what do elite entrepreneurs and business owners, what type of characteristics do they embody? What things do they know? What skill sets do they possess? How mentally tough are they? What things do they know? Who do they know? Where do they live? So now we go, okay, what industry? If you look at tech, for example, where are the bulk of tech entrepreneurs? They're in Silicon Valley, maybe a little bit LA, but mainly Silicon Valley. They're in Austin and they're in Miami. Maybe some New York, but not much. That's more finance. First thing is proximity. If you're around that group, is it probably going to help you? Most likely. Okay, so that's something to think about. Now, I'm not saying you need to book a flight and go move there now, but let's just look at this from a first principle standpoint. So the proximity is, okay, those general 3 places, and maybe there's a few others, that's where the bulk of them are. 2, what do they possess? Number 1, they're perseverant. They can go after things and push past immense challenges. 2, they can handle immense pressure. If you get stressed out driving in traffic or to try to hit a sales quota at your first job, I want you to look at yourself in the mirror and go, do you really want to be an entrepreneur? How do you stretch that ability to be able to handle more pressure? Well, you got to go through things. Well, you got to put yourself out there. You have to test yourself daily. Okay. 3, they're great at sales and marketing. Okay. They're fantastic at that. How great are you at communicating to people? If you cannot sell your vision to someone to work for you, someone to buy from you, it's going to be very difficult to be an entrepreneur or business person. Next, they're incredible at recruiting. How great are you at getting people to join your mission? Think about this, and I realized this firsthand. I remember at one point, a company had reached close to 40 people, and we had this big Christmas event at this penthouse, the nicest hotel in Houston. And I'm talking to all of them. They got their wives and stuff like that. We have so many people there, and I'm like, damn, this is kind of crazy. I was one of the youngest, I think I was the second or third youngest person in that room. And I'm sitting here thinking, all of these people have families. All these people have lives. All these people are here for a specific reason. What's a short-term, long-term, forever. And it made me realize, and I realized it, always, but it was kind of cool seeing everybody kind of together. Made me realize how important my role is to make sure that we're successful. And I give each one of these people and anybody else that ends up on a journey with myself or with anybody else, that they're successful, fulfilled, and their family's taken care of. And so I always respect that and never forget it. Because if you look at people like numbers, not only will they feel it, but you'll lose sight of what you're really doing and why you're doing it. Okay, so you got to think about things like that. And you got to have all those skill sets. Next, what do you have to have? A network. You got to know people. That goes back to maybe you need to move. Maybe you need to join some type of club. Maybe you need to start networking with people on social media. It's interesting. When I first had a big interest in crypto, started posting about stuff, doing different things. I ended up meeting multiple entrepreneurs while I was making business content, starting different companies and things like that. I ended up getting groups. I'm in a group right now with 600 different entrepreneurs that are in, gosh, who knows how many industries. And I can message that. I had to get a reservation at this new restaurant in Houston that it was the first week it was open. So you couldn't get in no matter what. And it was pre-booked for 2 months. I said, and I talked to some friends and they're like, hey, do you think you can get a reservation here? And I said, let me see. So I tried this, that, and the other, didn't work. I said, let me check. I threw it in the group chat. Within 2 minutes, someone said, hey, Grant, text me. They group texted me with the owner. And within about 15 minutes, I had a reservation like that. Think about that. And that's my point is business, closing deals, hiring the right people, getting in the right places, clubs, neighborhoods, all of these things. It's about who you know. So I want you to start thinking things from a strategic lens. If you're in a place where nobody is doing the things that you want to do, you got to figure out how to get the hell out of there. Yes, you could be the first one, but if it's a gambling and it's an odds, it's a low chance. So it's important to put yourself in that thing and then develop yourself to become that person. What books do you need to read? What do you need? How do you need to present yourself? What clothes do you need to wear? Where do you need to surround yourself to meet the right people? How do you become better at speaking? How do you learn all of these skill sets? How do you meet people that are fantastic at things where maybe you aren't as good at. These are all things that you have to do. So what I found, and this is what I'll leave you with, is when I made this realization, I stopped. I would say it's like I almost had this passive aggression for a couple years towards the world because I'd worked so hard and didn't get it. And it kind of made me a little bitter. And maybe you guys have felt the same way, or maybe seen family members, friends, whatever, get to this point. And it was really just me discovering that it was a lack of accountability on my part. And I was young and still figuring things out, to be fair. But when I took accountability for I'm the common denominator, if I don't become this person, then it's not going to happen, or anything else remotely close to it. That's when I stopped worrying about what everyone else was doing and what I thought I deserved. And I just hustled and focused and developed myself and created a strategy and a plan that took away emotions and what I felt I deserved and all that bullshit, and I just executed. And it was like 2 years, from 2018 to 2020, it was like, bam, everything took off. Everything took off. And every once in a while, I have these realizations to where, I remember when I first got to Brooklyn, New York, and I'm sitting there on Atlantic Avenue. If you know where Atlantic Avenue is, half a mile from Atlantic and Smith is where I was at. Downtown Brooklyn. Anytime I'm around really wealthy people and I accidentally say I used to live in downtown Brooklyn, they're like, oh, and then they stop trying to talk to me. Because it's not too nice of an area. Although Brooklyn's really, really developed, there's tons of nice parts in Brooklyn. But I remember sitting there having like $100. I'm moving here to play this. I'm in a damn near 2x4 with all these roommates trying to make it. And then I think like 3-4 years later, I'm flying my entire family to like the Amalfi Coast. I'm not saying this to brag. I'm telling you this, guys, as like motivation, because I don't post these types of things. But then I'm sitting there on Amalfi Coast, and then bam, now I'm on Fox News, and then this happens. And it's just like, and I'm sitting there like, what the fuck is going on? This is insane. And this is why I'm telling you guys this, is because, there's no difference between me or anybody else. And there's a lot of people hell of a lot more successful than me. And that's what I'm learning too. I'm on this journey just like you. But my point to you is, when I pulled my emotions away and I strategized and I built myself up to become this person, that's when I went from sitting on Atlantic Avenue in 2016 with less than $100 in my bank account, trying to figure out what the hell's going on in life, to 2021, I think, summer 2021, right when they opened up Europe. I had my whole family, and I'm in the Amalfi Coast, and I have this successful business, and I'm just like, wow, that happened quick. And it doesn't take long if you become the person who's capable of achieving it. And that's not supposed to feel easy. And that's not supposed to make you feel comfortable. And that's supposed to make you feel anxious. And so when I talk to these entrepreneurs and these people that, I work with, or I'm just friends with, or just, advice in general, they're like, I'm stressed, I'm worried about this and this and this. And I'm like, that's what that feels like. You're building a company. It's supposed to feel this way. And they're like, I'm like, I felt the same things. And that's my point to you guys, is growth is uncomfortable, but you can do this in a practical way, no matter what you look like, where you're from, who you know, and what you come from. So hope you guys enjoyed this. Make sure to subscribe, like, comment below what you liked about this video, or what topics you guys liked me to cover. This is the 3rd video, and I'm going to get to 7 straight. I may keep going after that, depending on what you guys think, but make sure to check out my podcast for more long-form content. Check me out on Instagram, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Much love, guys. Have a great day.